Try to invest wisely with practice on a free demo account. Think bigger. Learn to analyze. And with
Okay, guys, good evening, and you are welcome to class. Please, before we start anything, I will implore you to get used to using the chat box. We learn to communicate with each other via the chat box, and then make sure you give the video a thumbs up, react to it, so that others will be able to find it. Let's learn the habits. Anytime you join class, you give the video a thumbs up before you open the chat. So this is GST 101, Use of English and Communication Skills, Part 1. This course is a continuous course. It has a continuation in your 100 level second semester, which is GST 102. The first part is this one you are doing now, GST 101. The second part will be GST 102. So let's get to business, guys. I would like to know the people I am taking this course. So please, in the chat box, just drop a message. You can say hi, you can say hello, you can say I'm available. Talabi Esther, you are welcome. Good evening. This course, okay, I don't know, probably you skipped it last semester. I was expecting you to be doing just 102 by now. So yes, Dave Joshua, you are welcome. Healthy Remedies, thank you. Yes, Messi, and then El Messi Studio, and the rest of us that are here. Yes, I can cite everybody. Thank you for joining the class. Now, this is GST 101. I would say this is one of the simplest GST and also one of the complex one, because if you don't study, you will see it like, is it not just English? But when you get to the exam, you are likely going to sweat and even try hard in order to score as low as 15. So you have to give in your best. Don't joke with anything. The worst part about GSTs is that you can't skip them. If you fail them, you have to redo again until you pass them. So let's do our best to get our mind committed to the class. Like I said earlier, this is GST 101, Use of English and Communication Skills, Part 1. In this course, let me just give you a general survey so you will know what you are expected to do or what you are likely going to see in the course. The course is generally concerned with teaching you two skills, two fundamental skills. One is listening, how to listen, what you listen to, skills required in listening, and so on and so forth. So by the time we are done with this course in 100 level first semester, every one of us should be a good listener. When someone is speaking, maybe you are listening to a lecture, a church sermon, an admonition from an imam in the mosque, a seminar, or anything, you should be a good listener. You should be able to get all the important details that the person is discussing in that type of listening environment. So that is the first thing the course will teach you. The course will teach you how to listen. How to listen. That is the skills required to listen. You will learn that very well in this course. Then the second thing the course is concerned about is how to read. You are going to learn two major skills from this material if you truly go through the material with all your mind and you learn everything that is there, not just cramming for exam. If you learn what this material is about to teach you, I can bet you that by the time we are done with this course this semester, you will be a good listener and a good reader. And that will go a long way in helping you all through your time in NON, the 4 years you are going to be spending. Every time you find yourself listening to lecture, listening to seminar, listening to one thing or the other, and time to time you find yourself reading for different purposes. reading for exam, reading to get knowledge, and so on. So you need these skills. This course is not a mistake. There is a reason why they set it at the very foundation of your academic journey, which is the first semester you find yourself in in the university. So please, let's note that by the time I am done attending GST101 course in this semester, I am a good listener and I am a good reader. So that is it. And to achieve that aim, that goal of you becoming a good listener and a good reader, we'll study that through some units, modules and units. So our objectives that will lead us to our goal are listed below. In module 1, we will start by talking about listening enabling skills. Those are the skills you need in order to be able to listen. You don't know that listening requires some skills. Right now, you may just think listening is not that somebody is talking and I'm actually hearing what the person is saying. You will soon learn that there is a difference between hearing and listening. You can be hearing someone speaking, talking, but you are not listening to the person. So you will see why listening differ from hearing. Number 2 is we'll talk about listening and comprehension. What is the relationship between you listening to someone and understanding that person? The synonym for comprehension or comprehending is understanding. So you listen and you understand. What is the relationship? Now, we'll also talk about listening comprehension and note taking. Listening comprehension and information retrieval for general purpose, and then information retrieval for data, figures, diagrams, and charts. And that will lead us to module 2. In module 2, we'll talk about listening for main idea, listening for interpretation and critical evaluation, effective reading, skimming and scanning. You enjoy the skimming and scanning when we get there. Then we'll talk about reading and comprehending at varying speed levels, part 1. In module 3, so you find out that towards the end of module 2, we are already going to the second part of the material, which is the part that teaches us how to read. Now, in module 3, we'll talk about reading and comprehending at varying speed levels, part 2, reading for vocabulary development, reading for vocabulary development 2, we have 1 and 2, and then reading for vocabulary development in various academic contexts. And then reading for various vocabulary development, again, in various academic contexts, but this time around, part 2. Now, the last thing we'll do in the material is to talk about reading diverse text. We'll talk about narrative text, expository text, then reading and comprehending passages with tables, reading scientific text, and then reading for interpretation and critical evaluation. In the nutshell, as you've seen, we've just scanned through this material to get an idea of what we'll be doing in the material. But you see that the summary is that we are going to be doing 2 things, listening and reading. So, once again, I welcome you to class. We'll start with the first thing we have tonight, and I'm very sure at the end of this class, you have an idea of what listening is, not just what it is, but what the material says it is for the sake of exam. And I would like to tell you guys that this class, I don't only take you class, I have a platform where I am going to register all of you and set assignment for you. That assignment serves like your practice for exam. We'll fetch questions directly from the material, just like the exam do, and you practice. In fact, the portal is just like an exam portal too. The portal is just like your exam portal too. It's that's that was done intentionally to expose you to the system, to expose you to how the exam will look like, how the exam portal will look like, what you will be doing in the exam portal, and so on and so forth. So, and the mode of teaching here tonight, guys, I think today is just like an introductory class. So you will get to learn time to time as we go on in the course of our reading. I will ask questions in the chat box. You need to answer. It's very important to always respond to the questions. It's very important. I will drop a lot of questions the way none sets the exam questions. So let's start from Unit 1 tonight. Listening enabling skills. In a nutshell, before we begin anything, let me ask you this simple question. GST 101 material is based on two major concepts. Kindly list them in the chat box. What are the two major concepts GST 101 is all about or deals with? Yes, I will wait for your responses before we start Unit 1. Listening and reading, yes, thank you. Listening and reading, listening and reading, listening and reading. Fine, you guys, you have been following. So this is how we'll be doing it. You see, I will read a part, then I'll test you guys again to see if you have done it. So guys, our concern tonight is Unit 1. And in this Unit 1, we'll be talking about listening enabling skills. What it means is the skills you require or that is required of you that you will need in order to be able to listen. This is what will help you to distinguish between listening and hearing. Everyone can hear if they have functioning ears anyway, but that doesn't mean they are listening. You will see the difference between the two. But the main thing you want to learn in this unit is what are the things I need to have, I need to exhibit in order to be able to listen. But before we achieve that, we need to learn the meaning of listening itself. Then, who is a listener? Why must we listen? And listening enabling skills. Three things we are concerned about in this unit. Who is a listener? Why must we listen? And listening enabling skills. Well, like I do tell all the sets, it's not always professional for you to call listening as listening. No, it's the right way is listening. Listening seems that is somehow silent. So as a form of introduction to the unit, right before we go into just reading and reading, you are welcome to this unit entitled Listening Enabling Skills. In this unit, you will be exposed to who a listener is, sorry, a learner is, but I think it's a listener, and why the learner must listen and what he or she should listen to. The listening enabling skills that you need to function effectively in the programs you enrolled in will then be unfolded to you. We'll stop there for now. So, what are the objectives? Now, let's make this clear. The reason why we want to go through this unit, as stated below. So, by the time we are done with this unit, we need to come back to these reasons. Check if we have understood each of them. If we haven't understood each of them, it means something. We have not gone through this unit successfully. So, we need to go through it again. So, the purpose of going through this unit you are going through tonight, one, is to state clearly who a listener is. State clearly who a listener is. Number two, will we be able to determine the reason you must listen throughout the program? You are studying mass comm, computer science, you are studying biology, any department or program you're actually studying, you will always need to listen. Why? You will determine that in this unit. Then list the listening enabling skills we have, the skills you will need to be able to listen effectively. And then we'll be able to apply the listening enabling skills discussed while practicing some of the activities given in the unit. So guys, let's go to the first thing we have tonight. Who is a listener? Who is a listener? Before we even go into anything, let me ask you that question now. I'm asking you directly now. Assuming you've not opened this material before, someone walked up to you and randomly asked you, please, who is a listener? What will you tell the person? What will you tell the person randomly? Let's assume someone just come now and then ask you who is a listener. Reason out or tell the person. Yes, Kemi Sola says, is anybody who is capable of listening to anything said I think Kemisola, you've gone through this material a bit before. That's why you're able to say that thing you said now. Gone through this material before, a bit before, because that your definition is closely aligning with what the material is saying. Okay, I am waiting patiently. I need more answers. It's not only one person I have online. Okay, a listener is something paying attention to what in is someone who pay attention to detail. A listener is anybody who is capable of listening or who is capable of understanding or comprehending what is being conveyed to him as an information. Thank you. That is I think Stella, Idoko Stella. Thank you. Prosperity says a listener is someone who pays attention to things being talked about. Thank you. I have why people are just awesome. I'm seeing a lot of answers and responses that are making sense, which means you guys are actually following. But let me tell you, you yourself as a person, you are a listener. You are a listener. Right now, you are listening. In your day-to-day activities, as you go out to work, in your place of work, you listen to your colleagues, you know, just randomly, anywhere you find yourself, you are in the position of a listener. So if I ask you who is a listener, you can even say, I am a listener, like you yourself, you are a listener. Now let's go through the material a bit. I have a simple answer for this question. You are that listener. You are that listener. So who is a listener? I am a listener. So when we start talking about that, who is a listener? I can say that Adetayo Abiodun is a listener. Boss Mustafa is a listener. Obasi Chidera is a listener. Kehinde is a listener. Onyekachi Rejoice is a listener. And then Inioluwa Adeolu, anybody qualifies to be a listener, but we'll check more about that. So you are a listener. You are a listener because listening is a compulsory day-to-day activity. I need to tell you that now, that you are a listener because listening is a compulsory day-to-day activity. Now, this is where we start doing something serious, guys. This is where it's no longer going to be we just reading. This is where there are questions. Let me introduce you to the system. You are welcome to know. The questions are always or mostly verbatim. They'll just cut out the whole sentence from the material and remove a single word from it. That single word or phrase is what we are meant to fill in the gap or probably select as an answer from the options provided. So we have two types of questions. We have the multiple choice and we have the fill in the blank space. So I have a question for you guys, and the question is right there in the chat box. I need everyone online to contribute to that question. So in answering that. So they said that why do we say you are a listener? It's because day to day, as you go out, listening is just part of your day. It's what you do on daily basis. You go to the market, in one way or the other, you listen to someone. At your place of work, you listen. In your house, you listen. You are playing with your people, your colleague, or any, you are always in the position of listening. So that is why you are a listener, because listening is a day-to-day activity, especially in this program that we are running. In this program, like you are studying mass comm, you are studying computer science, you are studying infotech, you are studying cybersecurity, or anything you're actually studying, listening is what you will do on daily basis. All through your 4 years of study, you will always need to listen. Now, although most of the time you will be reading too, there will be occasions when you have to listen to a tape recorder, radio, television, or video, and so on in this program. Now, you are likely going to attend lectures and meetings in the study center, whether it's before. Now, nothing like that. You just attend your lectures on Zoom meeting or other avenues like this where we are like the one we are doing right now. So you need the skill of listening accurately and to comprehend what is conveyed to you as information. That is why you need to go through this unit carefully. Now, as a listener, I cannot determine where you are now studying this unit. It may be in your home, your workplace, an isolated place, or even inside a vehicle taking you to a destination. Wherever you may be, there is something important about listening. We listen daily, moment by moment. We listen daily, moment by moment. We are just trying to help you appreciate the fact that listening is just something that is happening around you every time. They answer that. I'm waiting for your responses. Listening is a day-to-day activity. Listening is a day-to-day activity. So that is another icebreaker there. Try to attempt it. Now, we have just been able to see the picture about listening. When we talk about a listener, you now know that you yourself, you are a listener. Why? Because listening is a day-to-day activity. In one way or the other, you find yourself listening every day. So from that simple part that we've finished studying, you will be able to answer who a listener is now. Who is a listener? You are the listener. And what do you listen to? You listen to radio, television, seminars, talks, and so on and so forth, like we've seen in the part we've just concluded. Now, we are moving to something serious. That part is just like an introduction. But let's go to something serious. If you have done the above self-assessment exercise very well, you probably must have written down answers that looks like something below the thing we'll be talking about now. Now, guys, this is the time to talk seriously about the meaning of a listener. And this definition is very important to know it. It's very important it sinks in your mind. So, who is a listener? The big question, who is a listener? A listener is anybody. The first thing you need to understand about a listener is that it could call it the listener can be or could be anybody, not a particular person, not a mature person, not a teenager, not a youth, not an adult, but anybody. What will that body have or that person exhibit? Who is capable of listening to anything said? The first thing is that there is something said, then that anybody needs to listen to it. Then the person has capacity. The next thing you should pick from there is that there is the word capable. And that capable means that there is the capacity to listen. We'll talk more about that when we read further. You will know what it means that the person must be capable of listening. Because, look, let me just branch a bit. If you don't have ears now, it is very hard for you to listen. If somebody is deaf now, it is very hard for that person to listen. Why? The person is not capable of listening, because the function, that is the main thing required to perceive, to hear the sound is not there. So a listener is anybody who is, one, capable of listening to what anything said, and possibly, now this is the second part, participate in what he listened to and what is demanded to be done. What this means is that you are actually listening to me now, then I dropped a question in the chat box, then you started answering. Why? You are participating in what you have listened to. And why was that possible? Because you have the capacity to listen to what was being said. So you are a listener. Again, I'll take the definition of a listener slowly now. A listener is anybody who is capable of listening to anything said and possibly participate in what he listened to and what is demanded to be done. This is not something I want to see if you guys have been following. We've been talking about a listener, and we said that listener is anybody that has the capacity to listen to what is being said, and not only that, also have the capacity to participate in what is being discussed or what is demanded to be done. So like when I said fill in the gap, I've asked you a question. Your ability to answer that question means you are participating in what you have heard. So I'll give you guys 2 minutes to answer this question. Everybody this question. So without having sufficient answers, I will not continue. So I'll hold on for you guys. Yes, I'm waiting for you guys. A lot of you guys have not given this video a thumbs up. Always learn to do that. As soon as you join the video, give it a like before you open the chat box. Yes, we're having listener. Yes, sorry. Someone just mentioned that the network is poor. I'm so sorry about that. We will try our best to look for alternative ways of handling that. So, a listener. Yes, and you guys should not forget to give the video a thumbs up. It helps others to quickly find it. Now, let's move on. Now that you know who a listener is, anybody who is capable of listening to anything said and possibly participate in what he listened to and what is demanded to be done. In fact, as a reader of this unit, you are a listener. Although it is possible for you to be deaf and be doing this course, even if you are deaf, you still listen to sign language. Let me give you an expo. This is one of the questions that is in your exam question bank. It's one of the valid questions that is in your exam question. You still listen to sign language. Even if you are deaf, you still listen to sign language. So that is another icebreaker for you guys to participate in. If you are deaf, how do you listen? You listen via sign language. So, what is the next thing we are concerned about? You can listen to a tape recorder, a video, or a lecture. Do you get all the answers correctly? If you did, then fine. It means you have been following this study. Well, so let's see. What do you listen to? You listen to a tape recorder, video, lecture, radio, television, anything you can imagine, you listen to. Now, let us go to the second part of our study. And that will be, why must we listen? Okay, now that I've understood who a listener is, which qualifies I myself as a listener, I am a listener. Why? Because a listener is anybody who is capable of listening to anything said and possibly participate in what is being said and what is demanded to be done. So I know that I myself now am qualified to be a listener, that even if I'm a deaf person, I can still listen through sign language. I have known all that now. The next thing I would like to know is, okay, and I've also learned that what do I listen to? I listen to things like tape recorder, video, lectures, seminar, talks, radio, television, and so on and so forth. In fact, what you listen to, the list is just numerous. You can mention as many things as possible. So, the next thing is, why must we listen? Have you not asked yourself, when they say the first thing we are going to be doing in this course is how to listen? You want to listen. We want to teach you how to listen. Then you would have asked yourself, what is the need for listening? Why must I listen? We'll learn that next. And that is the next thing we are going into. Why must we listen? But before we go into why must we listen, let me see your responses to that my question. Okay, sign language. Boss Mustafa, I am going to select about 4 or 5 of you guys that are very active tonight, and you will be the custodians of that our group. Like, you will be admins and coordinators in the group. I am actually going to take some of your other courses, but we're using this one as a pilot course to see how you guys will turn up before we decide on the demography of the people we have. The people we have. All right, so guys, let's move to the next thing. You as a listener must listen because listening is a day-to-day activity. It's as simple as that. We have done that before. In the introduction, I have stated that very clearly that the reason why we listen is that listening today is just like saying you must surely eat in a day. You wake up, you decide to fast. You cannot fast forever. You will still eat. So that is how you can consider listening. You always, if in one way or the other, it doesn't really have to be lectures or seminar. It can occur in several dimensions, but it's a day to day. At every day you go out, you always have to listen to someone in your place of work. Even when you remain in your room in a day all through, somebody to put a call through to you on your phone, you still have to listen. So listening is a day to day. It's not like something you can escape, run away from, or something. It is a day to day activity. Now, you listen to your friends. Now, let's look at examples of why we say listening is a day to day activity. You listen to your friends talking. That is number one, an example of day to day activity. It may be in your language or even in English. You listen to directions when you are lost or new to a place. For instance, let's say Chinaza Veronica just moved to Abuja and she's now in Area 1 and she's probably going to Gagalanda or any other place and she doesn't know how to navigate her way. Then she stopped someone on the road and possibly asked for direction politely. And then the person started giving the direction on how to navigate the compass. She will listen attentively then because you don't want to miss any detail. Why? She don't know where she's going, but that person knows it. So she's trying to get attention. So that is something that can happen any day. You can find yourself in a new place any day. So that is why we say listening is a day-to-day activity. You also listen to lectures, like what we are doing now, which are delivered by specialists in the field. You listen at home, at work, in the office, to a telephone conversation, and so on and so forth. Any daily activities where you find yourself listening to someone or something qualifies as a reason why you listen. But the summary of it all is that you listen because listening is a day-to-day activity. It's not something we can run away from. Listening is a day-to-day activity. It is not something we can run away from. So, listening activities, when you now look at all those things we have said, listening to lectures, listening to a radio recorded tape, a conversation on the phone, your friends talking, and so on and so forth, you find out that they are in categories. So let's try to categorize them. Listening activities can therefore be divided into two major parts. Listening activities can therefore be divided into two main or major parts. The first one is listening in general and social setting, and the second one is listening for specific purposes. We have two forms in which you can listen, or two divisions of listening activities. The first one, listening in general, and that one is also called social setting, and listening for specific purpose or purposes. You might be wondering, what does that mean? Which one is listening in general? Which one is listening for specific purpose? But before we jump or rush again into another thing, I would like to ask you an icebreaker. Oh, I hope my network is really not giving us a tough time tonight. So I have a question there. It's an icebreaker. I want you guys to try it, attempt it. Listening in general is also known as dash. Listening in general is also known as dash. That is icebreaker number one. Then we have two types of listening. Namely, dash, and of course, dash. So we have two questions there. Onyemachi blessing. When we ask questions, try to answer them directly the way the answers are written in the course material. Now, the reason is that let me give you uh, a very short orientation on how examination works in now. Now, I asked you a question earlier that says listening in general is also known as dash. In the material, what is written there is social setting. You are not meant to write the synonym. If you want to answer that in the exam or anywhere in the known system, you have to write that same social setting, the way it is spelled there exactly. You have to write it there. Well, the issue of maybe capital letter or no capital letter, that one is another case, although it's irrelevant. But make sure you write the exact thing that is written there, social setting, not you trying to say, I had someone said to seek understanding. Why that is correct generally, but that is not what is in the material. Always learn to see what is in the material and grab it. So, listening activities, therefore, can be divided into two major parts: listening in general, which is also known as social setting, and listening for specific purposes. In this course and all through your study in non, you find yourself concerned with the second type of listening, which is listening for specific purposes, because that is the one that deals with listening for exam, for school settings, listening to a seminar, a course, a lecture, and the rest of them. All that falls under specific, because you are listening because you are hoping to get something, you want to learn something, you want to get an information, you listen for specific purpose. But when it's in the general setting, like in the clubhouse, you went to club and then the music is just doing go 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 go, everybody, this one is chatting, that one is talking, that one is shouting, this one is dancing, the music is blowing in the air. So that kind of listening is listening in general. The kind of listening you listen in the marketplace is listening in general. So that is the difference between the two. The kind of listening we are interested in here is listening for specific purposes. That is listening to gather information for directions, listening to academic lectures, to process involved in doing something, or listening to critically evaluate what a speaker is saying. All these fall under listening for specific purposes. Now, your concern in this study is also listening in English. So English is the medium of instruction in this course. Not only in this course, basically, we have an interesting activity to do to end this class. We want to know which of the following is not the purpose of listening: to gather information. We are trying to check these activities, which one of them falls under listening for specific purposes. Don't forget, we said we have two types of listening: listening in general or social settings, and listening for specific purposes. Our concern in this course is listening for specific purposes, because it is the type of listening that deals with gathering information, about some subject matters, listening to lectures, seminars, and the rest of them. So the question here is, which of the following is not the purpose of listening to gather information, which means it's not listening for specific purposes. Now, day-to-day activity, you guys will just answer. If is day-to-day activity listening to gather information or not? Or is it listening in general? The first one is, oh, sorry, I think I must have copied the wrong thing there. So the first one is day-to-day activity. What kind of listening is it? Is it general or specific purposes? day-to-day activity. Is it listening? Is your answer? Okay, quite a lot of people are choosing eating delicious food is the one that is um, not the purpose of listening. Okay, you are right. I think you are right about that. But is it only eating a delicious food that is not a purpose of listening to gather information among the listed options? What about day-to-day activity? What about telephone conversation? What do you say about that? Because we all seems to be aligning with only eating a delicious food as the only option that is odd there, that is not part of the okay. Somebody said number three. Oh, sorry. Okay, for general. Okay, so many of us says eating a delicious food. Festus says telephone conversation is part of gathering information. Okay, you need to understand what the person is saying. Probably the person wants to give you. Okay, okay. So we are isolating day-to-day activity and eating a delicious food as like telephone conversation. Sorry, like yes, telephone conversation, working in the office. Excuse me. Critical evaluation are saying absorbing academic lectures. We are classifying them as listening for specific purposes. Now, we have done justice to this part of the material tonight, and it's wonderful. The next thing we'll be going into in the next class, which will come up very soon, you will communicated in the group when the next class we hold. It's possible we hold it just once in a week or twice in a week. I can't tell yet, depending on how many other courses we still take. Now, listening enabling skills is what we'll go into next. And this is where we are going to use a mnemonym like I do use for each set every semester. They've listed them for you, just about 5 of them. So we normally use FC triple A to hold it. But we're not doing that tonight. We'll do that in the next class. That's why we'll start in the next class and we'll do other things. So having done this tonight, I believe we have spent this 45 minutes judiciously. I will drop an assignment in the group. Then I will select some capable hands to be admins that will coordinate the assignment. And very soon I will create your access to the exam portal. I think I should show you guys the exam portal before we leave, if I still have it, if the network will allow me. So you will see how it looks like. But if I'm unable to do that, don't worry. We'll do that in the next class. So thank you for your time tonight. You'll see the assignment in the group. Do have a lovely night rest.